And I think that's part of what you see in South Carolina, is that those relationships and how you treat people and how you come to work on problems is part of what we are working on through the legislature right now. Part of our introduction, a couple of the bills we've been working on, ethics reform. Ethics has not been our strong suit. What happened in South Carolina on ethics was, after lost trust, there was an enormous focus on ethics. And about 2 years after that, the force of that sort of evaporated. Ethics laws hadn't really been touched in 10 or 15 years until probably 2 years ago when we started really working together. What's interesting is, for someone who is a Republican, some of the groups that I was working most closely with on this issue were the Coastal Conservation League and the League of Women Voters. We have done a good job on moving those issues forward, but what I think we all need to understand is ethics is very easy for us to define personally. It is very difficult to put it in law. I know that doesn't seem like it ought to be that way, but the way I look at it is, I'm sure all of y'all remember, I think somebody was telling me that 10, 15, 20 years ago, you could get a house closed in 3 to 5 days. They said you could start, sign the contract, get the financing in place, and close. Today it takes weeks. Unfortunately, the process that we've got is the same way. It just takes longer, and there are a lot of opinions, and it takes a long time to build a consensus. There's simple things we can do. For example, it was illegal to have a campaign credit card. Couldn't really legally pay bills by PayPal. We're changing all that. Ethics is improving, but we're not there. Patent trolling, one of the issues that you talked about. The way I got involved in it is that one of my cousins was hit by a patent troll. What a patent troll does is they buy old patents that are perhaps not absolutely relevant to what you do, and then they send you a letter. And they say, we're going to sue you unless you pay us $50,000. And we're going to end up in this one little district in Texas where we do this every year. What it becomes is, in a sense, a form of legalized extortion. My cousin had the opportunity to pay $50,000 or spend $250,000 at this time last year fighting a lawsuit. He is one of those quirky individuals who says, damn the torpedoes, we're going to fight. Most people pay their $50,000, the next guy pays $60,000, the next guy pays $70,000. It's not what we want in our society. We want to protect innovators, but we also want to shield small business. Those of us who cannot stand a $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 out of the blue request for money for nothing from what I would call a legal gristmill. Because once you're in it, you're done. It goes and goes and goes. Then we were talking about money. How many of y'all are concerned about South Carolina's roads? Okay. How many of y'all think this is a fairly simple solution to a fairly thorny problem? Over the next 5 years, the state of South Carolina is projected to increase its revenues, just at the way things are done today, between $1.2 billion and $1.5 billion. I propose that we can put a third of that new revenue to roads. That doesn't absolutely fix it, but it sure gets us a long way down the road. 5 years from now, we would be spending $500 million a year of new revenue. We would not have to cut existing government, although we probably need to look at the way government spends money and move forward, and I think we could fix our roads. Within my lifetime, I think we could end up in a position where we really see South Carolina's roads back the way we always hoped they'd be, with no additional burden on you or your clients. The final thing that I would tell you about that I'm most excited is we have created a new standing committee in the House called the House Legislative Oversight Committee. Our job is to go ask agencies what they do with their money. What I will tell you is there are 5 sub-chairs, I'm one of them, and the budget is broken up. I'm currently looking into the Department of Juvenile Justice. I don't know anything about the Department of Juvenile Justice, how it works, what its mission is. But I can tell you, after spending 2 weeks at looking at the documentation that they've put in front of me, I still don't know anything. And they're a $120 million agency with 1,500 positions. That makes them bigger than the city of Columbia without water and sewer. That is a massive agency that cannot explain to me its revenues, its outcomes, and the number of clients it serves. The basics that I'm sure every one of y'all get measured on at least every month, probably every week, doesn't seem to enter the lexicon. It is very troubling, but we're going to get there. And the important thing is, we're not on a witch hunt, but we are on a mission to understand what agencies do, question them, and then what we say is continue, curtail, or eliminate. I think what we're going to see is that there is a lot of duplication, a lot of areas for efficiency. So when I look up and I say there's $1.2 billion to $1.5 billion of new revenue over 5 years, I think we're also going to see the ability to save $1 billion over 5 years. The combination of that can really be used to fix roads, education. And then once we have those funding sources and the abilities to understand them down pat, tax relief.